Hello, everyone. Forest Focus as Nottingham Forest kick off the season in near perfect fashion with a 3-1 win over Brentford at the City Ground. Pre-season goals doubts dispelled, 2 new signings paraded, and more to come. It is an exciting time to be a Forest fan. So joining me to discuss how good today was and how good the next week or two could be in the transfer market are, first of all, Chris Aylmer. Chris, how are you doing?
Great. I was just telling fathers before we jumped on there. I had Oasis in Dublin, the gig last night, and then watched us thrash Brentford today. So yeah, great weekend all round.
Wonderful, wonderful. Fathers, how are you?
Yeah, fantastic, mate. I was at sellout Trent Bridge yesterday, watching the Trent Rockets men win. The women didn't, sadly, but yeah, Trent Rockets men yesterday in front of a sellout at Trent Bridge, and watched us smash Brentford today. What's not to like about that weekend?
Well, there is one thing. There's a disciplinary situation involving Fothers, I'm afraid, because at the Trent Nav earlier, he introduced me to the crowd and said, "Give him a big cheer," and I panicked that everyone would boo, or 90% of the crowd wouldn't know who I was, and I think it was closer to 90% situation, but it wasn't too bad. So yeah, Fothers, don't do that again.
Apologies, mate. I will make sure that doesn't happen again.
You hate the limelight. You hate the limelight, do you, Matt? I mean, Fathers that's his job. He's just trying to G up the crowd now.
Well, he did do a good job for the podcast. I'll say that, certainly, giving us a plug. So well done, Fothers. Well done, Paul Morley, who finished 4th in your quiz, Fothers, as well. He's done well there, to be fair.
He did. He was well impressed. He said that's the second time he's finished 4th as well. So maybe next time he'll get on the podium.
Maybe next time. There's 500 people with us in 2 minutes. It's definitely been a good day. So yeah,
hit like and subscribe.
Oh, yes. Hit like and subscribe. Look at that. He's straight in there. Well done. Chris, kick us off. General thoughts on what we witnessed either in person or from afar at the City Ground today?
Unbelievable. I mean, really, really, really positive stuff. Before we even get into the football chat, we've got to remember there's 2 lads sitting in the crowd there, Hutchinson and McAtee, that are yet to join the group. We've a couple more signings coming in as well. Hopefully we'll get a full back. And the team that was out there already that we thought couldn't score goals in pre-season scored 3 goals before half-time. I just thought it was a magnificent first half display, and then we took our foot off the gas a little in the second half. But overall, winning on opening day feels great. Absolutely delighted with the performance, and yeah, it just puts to bed some of those. We talked about Nuno's interviews and stuff on last week, and what was he thinking? And Will, a friend of mine, mentioned that it might just be that Mourinho sort of psychological take the pressure off the players thing and just put it on himself. And maybe he's right, because we looked very, very, very good.
Yeah, we did. We'll get into transfers towards the end. I think Nuno's comments are more certainly transfer related than the 11 we saw today. But yeah, great start. Thank you, Brucey, $1.99. Appreciate that. Very kind of you. Let's do, before we go to Fothers, WT Analysis has sorted us out with a couple of access to graphics from the match. So I've got a few, and we'll intersperse these through the season in post-match shows and Monday shows. Just out of curiosity for people who are interested in this thing, this is the match momentum against Brentford. We are the red team, Brentford the blue team. I won't go on about it too long because 50% of our audience listens and doesn't see the stuff. But you can see we absolutely dominated large stretches of the match in total control. The only time Brentford really had any measure of real dominance is when they scored. But then we see the game out quite nicely. So very high lines, spikes there showing how much we dominated the game, and average positions, just for those who are interested. Callum Hudson-Odoi was our most advanced player, showing what his role was to really, I think, pin Coyote back, who's a good threat for them. And Morgan Gibbs-White got very high and close to Chris Wood. And they were so close together, they restricted Brentford, a very average Brentford team, which we'll get onto. And we've got some other graphs on the midfield 3, who I thought were absolutely essential and magnificent in this game. But Fothers, your thoughts just in general before we get into the midfielders?
Yeah, well, that graph's really interesting, isn't it? It's a good job it doesn't show Elliot Anderson for the whole game, because the pitch would just be red, wouldn't it? Because he was just like, I mean, when you talk about a player covering every blade of grass, then that was Elliot today. I think for me, I always worry first game of the season. We've never been really that quick off the blocks. Chris and I were just chatting there about it being 2017 since we won the opening game of the season, since we last won the opening game of the season. Barry Mackay against Millwall, for those who were wondering what it was. And we've never really got out the blocks as well as we did today. And a lot of my friends worrying about the fact that we've not scored any goals in pre-season apart from one Chris Wood header. But do you know what? I think what we've proved today is that all pre-season is getting minutes under the belt, making sure everybody's fit, and playing together. Some of the interchanging today between Gibbs White and Elliot Anderson was just outstanding, wasn't it? So yeah, onwards and upwards. The only thing at the back of my mind is how poor were Brentford. I think we've come up against the side that it's going to be a long, hard season for them and their fans, I think. But you can only beat what's put in front of you. And for the first 45 minutes today, like Chris says, before we took the foot off the gas second half, it was outstanding, wasn't it?
Gary, thank you very much for the £5 as well. Really good of you. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, I mean, I've got a take on the Brentford situation. It was a perfect storm, Chris, in the sense no Damsgaard, Kevin Schade wasn't fit to start, Jordan Henderson's bedding in, Keith Andrews' his first game. It did play into our hands. I've got a view on what it all meant in terms of, them bad, us good type thing. But what's your take on that? Because I know people will say that a bit. What did you think?
Well, to be fair now, I've mentioned to a couple of people, Pete Blackburn, I messaged earlier, I've messaged you about this as well, Matt. I actually think Keith Andrews is better than just a set piece coach. He was an assistant at Ireland. He's a fairly shrewd operator. Now, he'll be under pressure this season, and Brentford, they've lost Norgard. Wissa won't play at the moment. Mbemo's gone to Man United. And of course, they've lost Frank and their whole backroom staff. So they're a bit wounded. Damsgaard was the big one today because he's been playing more advanced in pre-season for them. I've been looking at their pre-season for my fantasy football team. So I've been checking in on that. And him and Carvalho looked very, very lively. And Shea looked good as well in pre-season. So they actually looked okay and they looked fairly set up, and Andrew's just kind of calming things down and going in there and doing a job. But my big thing was Kelleher had come in and Nathan Collins is a decent defender at the back, and the two of them, both Irish lads, I watched them quite a lot. I thought they'd give us a bit of trouble. I thought Collins would on the set pieces going forward from long throws and stuff, and I thought the two of them would be good. But what I noticed was early on in the game, their communication was off. They're both internationals who play with each other, but there was moments where the passing was short. Even on the goal that I'm sure we'll get into from the corner, the two of them mixed that up. Collins put it out for a corner when Kelleher could have just taken it. There was a few moments early on in that game where their defensive communication was way off. That caused them problems. We got the lead, and then from then on, we never looked back. I think you have to be a clinical team to go out and beat a bad team. No, it doesn't always work out that way. We saw that against Leicester at the end of last season. So we did a great job, but yeah, they were way off it today. Damsgaard made a difference, but we still did the job.
Elliot, thank you for the £5 as well. It's very good of everyone. Appreciate that, and good to see you today, Elliot, and your brother as well, Paul. My wife bought the shirt for the kids for my birthday, so gave it its debut outing today. Literally had to cross I live in Leicestershire. Literally had to cross my road to get to my car, and some guy out of a van started giving me shit. But he must be a Leicester fan, so I sort of don't blame him with the way things are. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I sort of perversely enjoyed that. Anyway, so my take, fathers, just on this Brentford thing is, yeah, they were bad, and conceivably that's our easiest game of the season. Maybe, I don't know, but the thing that stood out for me was that we did cash in, we dominated the game, and the zip and the interchange between Morgan and Elliot was the main thing. That previously in games like that, we've probably tiptoed around teams and passed in triangles with Hudson-Odoi and Anderson and gone nowhere. But today we were much more incisive. So that to me, that probably overshadows it. I don't know, because were you more worried about, not worried isn't even a word, but Brentford were so bad that it gives you some pause for thought, or not?
No, I think it was just I was just chatting to my brother at half time, and I think it was more around the fact that we were just dominating them so much, and we don't do that, do we? Even at home, we're not renowned for dominating teams, but first half we were just up for it. We took it to them, and like I say, just at the back of my mind is a little bit about how bad they were, or how bad they're going to be, and I do think they're really going to struggle this year. So what I'm trying to do is I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm just not getting too carried away at this stage. Somebody just put in the comments there, they've got Villa next, so let's have a look how they get on against Villa. Then we can judge on how bad they were. And obviously we've got a tough game next week at Palace. So it's just a perfect start, isn't it? But what I don't want to do is get too carried away. I guess that's all I'm saying.
I think you're right. Palace will be an interesting one because hopefully the cards fall for us again and Gahey and Eze get sold, and that would be lovely. You want to come in there, Chris?
Yeah, just wanted to say to jump on what Fathers was saying as well. Like the thing is, Brentford wanted to play on the break as well. That would have been their game. Set pieces, long throws, try and win set pieces, get up there. They score from a penalty. You know what I mean? They just wanted to put pressure on us from the break. And we had the majority of the ball, and they didn't really break or cause us any problems once in the first half. That's what I saw. So we've had a change in strategy against these teams, as Father says, like Brentford, and we'll probably do the same against teams like Burnley and Leeds and maybe Sunderland. And they'll want to play on the counter. And the fact that we can still nullify that, like that would be my worry. I know they didn't have Wissa and Mbemo, and those are the players that they used to have on the break that were lethal. But Shade is very fast. He made a difference in the second half. And Carvalho's a decent player. And, that Thiago lad, he looks half decent. So, I don't know. I just thought we did a really good job at like stopping them playing their game for the most part.
I want to talk about the midfield. We'll take a slightly early ad for the NAV. I had a lovely day at the NAV, apart from being abused by Fathers. It was good to see so many people there. Upcoming games, we have got, I think, the fourth game against Arsenal's on TV as well. So Palace away, West Ham at home, and I think Arsenal away might be on TV as well. So get down the NAV. It was rammed today. Lovely atmosphere. And great to see so many people there. I'll mention one or two at the end. But if you want to enjoy the game, whether you've got a ticket or not, get down the NAV and it'll be great. And thank you, as ever, for their support. Right. Oh, and Tom from the NAV predicts a 2-0 win. Did you predict a 3-1 win, Fathers?
No, I said 3-0.
Oh, well, it should have been, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should.
I just realised I haven't got my laptop battery upstairs. Might have to dash down and get it and put one of you lads on screen in a bit. Right, we'll do the midfield section first because it was really interesting. So let's start with, in fact, no, just to give some general thoughts on that midfield three, Chris. Were they the catalyst and the foundation for the win?
Unbelievable. Like Anderson, everyone talked about him in preseason as being like, arguably our best player. He was phenomenal today. Some of the balls he won in the middle of the park, some of his passing range, the interlinking play between Gibbs-White, him, and then it's swinging over to Ayn on the right-hand side when he overlapped first half was phenomenal. Just the back and forth was amazing. Sangare was brilliant today. I mean, absolutely brilliant. There was so many times where he won that ball in the middle of the park and he was just up for it. Second half, there was a point where he made a tackle and it went off one of their players for a goal kick and he just celebrated. He went, come on, pumped his fist out. And I thought, Sangare's up for it this season. He's ready to go. And he's always been up for it. He's just been unlucky with injuries. He was really, really good. So if we're bringing someone like Douglas Luiz in and we think he's just going to start straight away, well, maybe he will, but you might want to check again because Sangare will have something to say about that. And Anderson's not going out with the team, and neither is Gibbs-White. So three of them just so good today. Gibbs-White was a bit sloppy at times. There was moments where he did the simple things wrong, but the hard things really well. But for the most part, the three lads, just some of that play first half was just, it was actually breathtaking to watch. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how well it was going.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you were ranking them, it was quite hard, actually. I thought Sangare was great, but I would have Gibbs-White and Anderson ahead of him. And then Anderson and Gibbs-White were on another level. I'd actually thought Anderson... It's interesting coming back on the radio. Steve Hodge and Colin Frey were absolutely waxing lyrical about Gibbs-White. I think Anderson got Sky man of the match. And he coming out of the ground, he was definitely my man of the match. But Fathers, you can talk about Morgan if you want, because he's your favourite player. So feel free to weigh in.
Yeah, he was just superb today, wasn't he? I think I used the word unplayable a couple of times. Brentford just didn't know what he was doing. They didn't know how to handle him. They didn't know how to stop him. I mean, we'll get on to talking about the goals, I'm sure. But the second goal, where he just spun through 360 and put that ball in for Ndoye to score with the header was just another level. And his overhead kick in the second half, if that goes in, you've got a contender for goal of the season before we're even through 90 minutes. I just thought he was. I think, and I know there's a lot of love for Elliot Anderson around, and I get that, and I think Elliot Anderson may even overtake Gibbs-White at some point. But I just think Morgan Gibbs-White's the best player we've got, and today he was just absolutely outstanding. Thought Sangare was superb as well, and I think what you were just saying there, Matt, about the other two being just ahead of him, is that because he does all the stuff that they don't want to do? Well, actually, that's not fair either because they're tracking back as well. But he doesn't really get that far forward, does he? So he's doing all the ugly stuff at the back, and maybe doesn't get the credit he deserves because he's not playing that wonderful through ball for Wood's our third goal for Chris Wood, or he's not putting the cross in for Ndoye's header. So maybe he's third out of the three of them because he's doing it a bit deeper than in the final third. But yeah, Gibbs White. I just think Gibbs White and Anderson for England, isn't it? Surely.
Sure.
You know, when you think about. Yeah, there's some great players. England are, you know, we've got so many good players in those roles, haven't they? You know, Declan Rice, Bellingham, players like that. But those two are knocking on the door, and it won't be long before Elliot Anderson joins Gibbs White in that squad, and we're watching them both for England.
I think just the reason I would put those two slightly ahead is Morgan's got that X factor. Anderson provides the platform for Morgan to have it, I think, because he just does everything unbelievably well. I've got some stats in a minute. And Sangare first half was really fantastic, like really excellent. Second half, maybe just tired. And you think, actually, when Douglas Luiz is here after 65, 70 minutes, I'd have maybe taken him off. I mean, the penalty we'll come on to was unfortunate. I don't think it was a factor in tiredness or anything, but I just think Anderson and Gibbs White were just on another level today. That's not a knock on Sangare, and I was glad he started and thought he was excellent. Soul on Ice, thank you very much for the £10. Really appreciate that. Before I go to Chris, I've got these graphics, and one of them really stands out. So thanks to WT Analysis, I'll just put them on screen. We'll rattle through them for the three midfielders. Sangare up first, a touch map on the right. Again, apologies to people who are listening, not watching, but I'll just talk through them quickly. You can see Sangare did a lot of his work kind of on the right in support of Ola and Dan Ndoye. He covered quite a lot of ground. Neat with the ball. On the left, successful passes in green, unsuccessful passes in red, and he doesn't really carry the ball much at all. He just moves it really well. So that's Sangare. Gibbs White, more grab, all in their half, basically. Track back a little bit. I mean, he actually gave the ball away once and almost cost us a goal. I think that was when Sells made a really good save. You can see he takes on more risky passes, pinging the ball, that kind of stuff. The flicks and the tricks really came off today, and he was great. This is Anderson's touch map. He is absolutely everywhere, as Fothers was saying, wanting to see that touch map all over the pitch. He didn't lose the ball. He wasn't dispossessed once. His passing was fantastic. The assist was unbelievable, and we'll get on to the goals. His only unsuccessful passes were really putting the ball at risk high up the pitch. I just thought he was unbelievable. Did you want to come in on any more of them, Chris, before we move on to the actual goals?
Yeah, just the defensive contributions as well, something that sort of always goes astray, because you're watching Gibbs White and Anderson be so brilliant offensively that you're forgetting some of the really important moments in the game. Gibbs White, there was a set piece that went in first half. He cleared the ball, got a header, won a free kick as well. Might have been off their forward player. I'm not 100% sure, but Gibbs White was brilliant there in that moment. That's a very dangerous moment. They're known for their set pieces, Brentford. Anderson came back second half when Shada, I think, got around the outside and pulled the ball back, and he just nicked the ball away from, maybe it was Jensen, I think, and that would have been a surefire good chance for them. They could have got a goal from that. And Sangare, the moment I already mentioned as well, you know, always getting in a challenge and winning a goal kick in a really important moment off a player. And another time later on in the game where he won a challenge, or he stepped in, Aylmer was beaten by Shada, and Sangare stepped in, read the play really well, took the ball, then won a free kick and took the pressure off us. Those defensive contributions in these games are massive. They're big moments. Brentford could score a goal from them. So I just think those things about the midfield as well. They're very good attacking players. They're excellent passers of the ball, but their defensive contributions are just like massive.
Let's talk about the goals then a little bit. I mean, Fothers, we've spoken so much about the need for us to score first and for us to score early. You couldn't have wanted a better start. And Chris Wood, he's going to have pressure on his minutes, isn't he, this season with Jesus and Kalimuendo when he comes in. Really well taken goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Chris Wood doing what Chris Wood does. You know, I remember speaking to Joe Worrell 2 or 3 years ago when Woody was being criticised a lot by the Forest fans and, you know, a bit past it and stuff. And Joe Worrell just said, we watch him in training. We know what he can do. And, you know, his awareness when that ball dropped just to smash it in the net was just quality, wasn't it? And like I say, it's what he does. He's battling with the centre halves. He puts them under pressure first and foremost, and he's the first one to react. is he 33 now? 30, whatever,
33.
Whatever age he is now. First one to react, and he's not missing it, is he? He just knows where the goal is. He knows how to score. And my prediction in the predictions show on Monday, I think I said he'd only get 12. So he's already a sixth of the way there after 90 minutes. Mad. He'll just carry on, won't he? He'll carry on doing what Chris Wood does. And yeah, he's going to come under pressure. But I think as he comes under pressure from players like Jesus, he's probably just going to get better and maybe even score more.
I think I said 12 as well, because I think he's going to get fewer minutes. But, if he doesn't need that many, does he? If he's going to play like that and be as deadly as that. Jeff, thank you very much for £2. Jeff Edwards, really good of you. The only thing I noticed for Brentford, Andrew's a set-piece coach. Like Keane Lewis Potter was marking Murillo and Chris Wood. I don't know if you watch the corners, he was set up to try and block both of them with the centre half pinned in behind them. It was really strange, and it did present us with a few chances, certainly. Second goal, Chris, I suppose it's the Gibbs White show, isn't it? It's such an assist, and credit Dan Ndoye as well. What did you make of that one?
It's funny because prior to that, I was thinking, and Ndoye looked a bit rusty up to that point. There was a couple of chances he'd come in, he'd stepped over the ball, he'd lost it a couple of times, didn't show good strength when Gibbs White played an amazing through ball to him with his left foot over the top, and Ndoye kind of got pushed off the ball by their wing back, I think. So he was a bit rusty, and then he came up with that moment. I thought it was a great finish, really incredible diving header. But you're right, like it is all about the assist. It kind of reminds me of, it's not the same goal, but like Luton a year or two ago when Gibbs White just turned and put it into a dangerous area and Wood stabbed it in. Similar thing. Gibbs White can just do that. He just turns in a moment with his left foot. Just great vision. He just knows where the player is going to be, and Ndoye comes in and heads it in the back of the net. It was. Yeah, stunning goal, and that's all about Gibbs White. That's why he's there. That's why, you can forgive him for a couple of sloppy moments if he has them, because in an instant he can change a game for you. Just like that ball against Leicester last season when he put that wonderful cross in and Wood scored that amazing header. And unfortunately, we didn't finish the game out or win it. But this is what he's all about. So he had a couple of those moments first half as well. That ball over the top for Ndoye was amazing prior to that as well. So yeah, it's the Gibbs White show, as you say.
People are very generous today. Where should we go? Paul Judge, thank you very much for the £5. He loves Fothers and Temps's hair. I don't know if that's Fothers and Temps's hair plural or just Temps's hair. I don't know, Fothers, but I'm sure you'll take it. And David Metcalf, thanks very much for the £2. Really appreciate that as well. Just on Ndoye, I was writing notes through the game, and he was the only player I was just looking for a little bit more from. But it's understandable with his first game. He had a bit of a sliding doors moment for us, I thought, when Nico produced a really good block when Ndoye was beaten, and that was worth a goal, wasn't it? It's funny how games go like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and he was it dispossessed, or did the guy just got? I think
he
the
just
guy
ran in, didn't he?
Ran around the outside of him.
Yeah, just ran around the outside of him and got past him. Yeah.
Sorry.
But you're going to get that, aren't you? There was a couple of times Chris mentioned earlier. There were a couple of times where Gibbs White lost possession in dangerous areas, and I think Matt Sells made a cracking save midway through the first half, and that was from an error from Gibbs White. So you're going to get that from those players. But it's really what they do at the other end, and Nico doing his job. It was a fantastic block from Nico when Ndoye gets done, and then when Gibbs White loses the ball, it's a brilliant save from Matt Sells, and that's teamwork, isn't it? That's why you've got players doing what they're doing. So and what a fantastic header, by the way. I know, Chris, you've said there it was all about Gibbs White, and it absolutely was. But there's an angle of his header from behind the goal, and you just look at the determination of Dan Ndoye to get in front of the defender and to get that header in, and it's a great finish.
I think so. I agree. I mean, connection man. No way Elanga scores that header. Probably not. They're different players, aren't they, Chris? I think we're going to have to be used to seeing Dan Ndoye things that Elanga can't do, and vice versa, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Ndoye is obviously better on the ball, and he's probably better in the air. I mean, we saw that today. But yeah, the thing that I suppose got me most about it was, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more, is if you look at a couple of the goals and you split the difference, you've got Chris Wood who managed to just stay onside for his goal, and then Ndoye actually just managed to stay onside for his as well. So that's my thing. I love seeing forwards, especially with this day and age with VAR and everything. the fact that they were able to stay onside, and they were both marginally onside, Ndoye and Wood, for their goals. The fact that Ndoye managed to stay onside, that shows a real striker's killer instinct as well. And he's just coming into the league. And that for me was the big one. He stayed onside, but the header was an unbelievable finish. But yeah, much the different player to Elanga. Elanga had the pace. I saw a bit of the Newcastle game on Saturday. My mate was over, he's a Newcastle fan, and Elanga was pretty good. Like, there was good moments and some bad moments, but he looked pretty good. He's electric pace. Different kind of player though. And Ndoye is a bit more of a technical player, still has the pace. He seems a bit stronger as well, and clearly stronger in the air. Great finish.
930 people watching. Fantastic. Love it. Do us a favour and hit like if you haven't already. The third goal for us, it's always a great time to score. I'll let you talk about it in general. I'm sure you'll talk about the past. The thing that I noticed, because I've watched it back, Chris Wood starts his run as the ball's just running past the Brentford player, which I think is unbelievable striker's instincts. He's not the quickest. That was what stood out to me. But what did you make of it?
Yeah. The fact that Woody's beat a defender for pace was one surprise. But you're right; it's because he anticipates the back pass, and he did this all afternoon. He was anticipating where they were going, because they were trying to play across the back a little bit, and he was superb today. His work rate and the way that he was anticipating where the goalkeeper was going to pass it, where the defenders were going to pass it, and he did exactly that. And then Elliot Anderson, it's almost like it's an incredible ball that he's played through, but it's almost like an interception pass through ball type all in one, isn't it? And it's just the perfect ball. And then Chris Wood again doing what Chris Wood does, just rounding the goalkeeper and rolling it into an empty net. I mean, we're so lucky to have these players right now, and you know, the new lads must have been watching that today and chomping at the bit to get on there and get playing with them. And it's not a foregone conclusion that they're going to walk straight into the side, is it? But I think with the extra games this year, there's going to be rotation. But yeah, Elliot Anderson's through ball, Chris Wood's anticipation, 2 killer goals within the space of about 3 minutes, I think, just before half time, and it kills the game, doesn't it? Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was game over. I thought, unless they brought Jordan Henderson on at half-time, I thought we would have gone on to win it 5-0. And if they brought Jordan Henderson on, I thought there's probably no way they were going to get back into it, because he's just a player to sit in and manage a game. I mean, did you have any Forest fan nerves at all, Chris? Did you see us going on to score more in the second half or not?
Of course I had nerves, because we, as Forest fans, we've just seen so much in the past. So of course I'm still thinking, oh, there's another 45 minutes to go. Keep your head screwed on. But Brentford just looked really lifeless that first half. And I just thought, if we can get past, I always think when we're 2 or 3-0 up at halftime, if we can get past that first 15 minutes, get to the 60th minute, we should be okay then. And obviously they only scored from a penalty. So yeah, the nerves subsided a bit. It's good little test for us as well in those moments. What can you do second half? You're not going to just take your foot off the gas, even though we did a little bit, but that's more the game management side of things. But yeah, of course I had the nerves. I just watching Wood though score those 2 goals, particularly the first one. You knew as soon as it landed to his foot, you knew he was going to put it in the back of the net. You knew when it landed, and the second one as well, you knew he was going to round the keeper. So yeah, had the nerves, but yeah, I believed in us just enough. I've seen us in that position enough times recently, like we did against Fulham a couple of years ago, to know that we should be okay.
Yeah, very Newcastle away finish from one of his hat-trick goals, wasn't it? Yeah, where he rounds the keeper on his left foot, tucks it away. Great finish. Probably rattle through it, forgot to get onto transfers. But a shout out to Sells for that save first half, and Morgan for that. I don't even know what it was. It wasn't a bicycle kick. I don't know. How high was it? I haven't seen it back. I've only seen it live, Chris. Was it a bicycle kick, or was he barely getting off the ground? It was a strange one.
He's turning and then like almost flick back kicking it. I mean, it's like an overhead kick, but it was almost impossible to try an overhead kick in that situation, because he's just turning to his left and then spinning around and back kicking over his head. Like, if that had gone in, it would have been up for goal of the season straight away. Like, it was an unbelievable effort from Gibbs White. And I think he must have felt in his head that's all he could do. Like, he felt like that was the only way he could get that ball in, because it was just behind him, and he just spun and turned. Amazing effort. Very close as well. It was really close. Great from Hudson Ndoye as well. Loved him going down the outside rather than cutting in all the time. He was mixing it up quite a bit and causing problems.
Yeah, I think so. We've hit 1,000. Great. Love it. Thank you.
Hit like and subscribe.
Like. I know I sound like a right idiot saying that all the time, but it does make a difference. Yeah, definitely, especially subscribing. I should push that more, certainly. We should discuss 2 penalties in the game. I haven't seen the first one back. The 33rd minute, Anderson whips a free kick in. I'm not sure who the defender was, but you both have. Fothers, penalty or no penalty? And do join in the chat on this, sorry, if you think it was a penalty.
Yeah, it's a penalty for me. I don't know who the defender was either, to be honest. I was in the Trent end, so I'm down the opposite end. I've watched it back. Literally, there's a 3-second clip on YouTube earlier on. Twitter earlier on, and I was just sort of watching it back because I thought you might ask about it. And for me, it's a penalty. He's moved his arm into an unnatural position, and it stopped it going right into the middle of the box. And if you watch it back, there's 2 or 3 Forest players running in to get on the end of it, and it may well have gone straight through to the goalkeeper, but for me it's a penalty. And when VAR are looking at it, I don't know how they're not seeing it. I don't understand how they've seen it hit his arm. He's moved his arm across, and then still decided that it's not a penalty. Don't get it.
What about you, Chris?
100% penalty. It would have been soft, but it's a penalty. It doesn't matter if it's a soft penalty or it was a penalty. I was watching the co-coms on the thing at stream I was watching was David Prutton, I think, and Prutz was saying, yeah, listen, this is an absolute he couldn't understand why they'd made that decision. He was sort of going, what, he even said before it was the decision was going to be, he goes, yeah, the arm's up, that's in an unnatural position. They've been given all year last year. That was 100% penalty for me. And there was another penalty shout later on. You might get to that as well. That I thought when I looked it back in the replay, Gibbs White was clipped. That looked like a pen as well. But this one, 100%.
I thought Anderson and Gibbs White had taken each other out. Is that not what happened?
Yeah, it is. But there was a moment where I don't know. Was it Van der Berg? One of their players just catches Gibbs White's heel. Now, look, if it was one of those slow it down jobs, I think they definitely would have had a look at it. But maybe that wasn't the reason why he went down. But there was a moment where I saw the replay and I thought, oh, hold on, let's see that again. And they didn't show it again anyway. But yeah, that was more of a 50-50. But the first one was a definite pen.
Thanks to Bradders, appreciate the £5. Yeah, great performance today. Gibbs White and Anderson were immense, and another $5, sorry. The Gist HubSpot strategists. If you're looking for a HubSpot strategist, they're the people for you. Clearly, great game, and thank you for the coverage. No problem at all. But there was a handball definitely given. It's interesting, Fothers. I saw it in the ground and thought definite penalty. And then you watch it back, and actually he's not looking at the ball. I think it was a penalty. I just think it's very unfortunate. What was your view on it?
Yeah, well, in the ground. So I'm Trent end upper, so I was the full length of the pitch away from it, and straight away I said that's a penalty because I saw from where I was, which is 150 yards away or whatever. I saw Sangare's arm move towards the ball. So straight away, I thought they're going to give this. And then when I watched it, I didn't really change my opinion on it. I think it's a penalty. I think he's very unlucky, like you say. I think he's sort of turned away from it, and it's sort of rolled down his arm. But his arm's sort of gone forward and move towards the ball. So I guess the frustrating thing for me is they give that one and they don't give that one in the first half. And this is where they've got to start. They've got to start getting it right. I just don't understand how one can be and one can't. The referee gives it's because the referee gave the second one, isn't it? The referee gives the second one. VAR are much more reluctant to overturn it, whereas the first one he didn't give, and then they've got to give that decision. So I think definitely a penalty, but I think the one in the first half was as well.
Yeah, not to dwell on VAR handballs, but I thought there was an absolute howler in the Bournemouth-Liverpool game as well, where Senesi should have been done for handball there. I don't know what, he's swiped his arm at it and he's looking at it. I think Sangare isn't looking at it, Chris, and it's just one of those unlucky things where he's looking over there, swings his arm, and it's not even on camera, and it hits his hand. Was that your take or not?
Yeah, it was unlucky. I mean, you're trying to keep your balance as well in a football match. Your arms go out when you're trying to keep your balance most of the time. It's frustrating for players to have to put their hands behind their back because you lose your balance a bit more. But yeah, he was just in there. It was a bit of a scuffle, and it was unlucky that it hit his arm, but it was a pen. It was a soft pen, but it was a pen, just like the first one. Both penalties.
I think so. Just before we wrap the game up, though, I mean, we did see that out very well. I thought the subs that came on, Fothers did a good job. Especially, I thought Yates came on and did really well and broke up the play a bit. But it was pretty comfortable, wasn't it, watching those last 10?
It was when you were talking earlier with Chris about whether you got any nerves. I was fully expecting them to score again, and then we'd be holding on for the last 5 minutes in typical Forest fashion. But I thought we did really well. I think you're right. I think the players that came on, I thought Jota Silva. I'm not a huge fan of Jota, but I thought he did really well on the wing when he came on, just holding the ball up. Yatesy did what Yatesy does, doesn't he? He's just brilliant. He comes on, he gets the crowd. I think it had got a little bit quiet after they got one back, and he's rousing the crowd up. He's getting stuck in. He's doing what Yatesy does. No criticism from any player who came on. I just thought we bossed it well. There was one bit where we got a chance to put a free kick in on 90 minutes, I think it was. We got a free kick on the edge of the box, and nobody went in the box for it, and they just played it to the corner. And I'm thinking, well, let's go and score again. Let's kill the game. But no, we managed the game out brilliantly. I thought really good.
The one thing I would say, Chris, is it wasn't really highlighted today because we didn't need the bench to score a goal, but we had 4 centre halves on the bench, probably very limited. Igor Jesus came on, and we had Taiwo and Jota. But it did show the need for these new signings, and it was great to see. I don't know if they showed it on Sky, but Hutchinson and McAtee paraded. It probably showed how much we need them, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. We definitely need the depth, and the bench did a great job. As Father said, Yates was good. Jota Silva was actually really good when he came on, slowed the game down. And yeah, they were decent, but we do need the bench, and we're going to need the bench against tougher opposition than Brentford, right? So we are going to need them, and I do think second half, it does make me nervous going 2-3 up at half time, because we always seem to, you felt it the Southampton game last year when it was 3-2 and they nearly got back at us and they were down and out last year. We've seen that happen to us a few times where we're 3-0, 2-0 up at half time. We've had a great first half and then we take our foot off the gas. And I think substitutes will help us kill off games like that as well. I think that if we were to throw a Hutchinson and a McAtee on, we might have got a 4th or a 5th. So I think that's important to note as well, rather than playing into the opposition's hands and just saying, look, they'll probably score 1 goal maximum. We'll see it out like we did. So I think that's it's important in every type of game, getting back into a game and also seeing out a game like today. Those type of players coming on. Imagine being Brentford's defence and then seeing Hutchinson and McAtee coming on and you're going, oh gosh, here we go again. It's just a nightmare. So yeah, they're going to be important for us. Palace next week. That's going to be a bit of a battleground out there after we've taken the Europa League spot and they're down to conference. So that's going to be an interesting game. And they're a good side. Even if they lose Eze and Gay, they'll still be very well organised. And I imagine the crowd will be raucous. So yeah, we're going to need them and they'll be in there for that game. And once you have the firepower on the bench, the last 20 minutes of those games where you really need to make changes, and we couldn't the last 8 games last season, we couldn't quite get it over the line. They'll be the important ones to do it.
We'll talk more transfers then in one moment. It feels like a nice time to thank our second sponsors, Nottingham Window Company. If you're looking for new windows, new doors in the Notts area, do get in touch with them. Link is in the description. And thanks very much for their backing as ever. There's over 1,000 people, so you might not know, I've said this many times, they did my windows at home, so I would very much vouch for them. Right, we haven't talked, fathers, about the build. I mean, it couldn't have been a better week in many senses if you're happy with McAtee and Hutchinson. So talk about that. And also lots of reports, the BBC reporting that Callum Hudson-Odoi is either agreed or is going to sign, well, one or the other, or has signed, a contract extension to 2028. So, I mean, a big week rounded off today, I guess. Yeah,
it feels a little bit like everybody was just waiting to see what happened with Palace and the Europa League, doesn't it? It was, all of these players have been talked about for quite a few weeks. And it's come to fruition this week, just after they finally decide. Well, they finally made the right decision on Crystal Palace and what happened there with the Europa League. So I really rate McAtee. I think he's going to be fantastic. For me, jury's out on Omari Hutchinson. I haven't seen much of him. I wasn't too impressed with what I did see last season when he was at Ipswich, but he's in a struggling side. And I think coming on a player of his ability, because he's clearly got ability, and a player of his ability and that style of play that he's got, will only get better playing with better players. You know, I mean, there was a point in that first half there where I felt I could have come on and played alongside Gibbs White and Anderson the way they were playing. So they must be chomping at the bit, those two. And if it's true about Callum Hudson-Odoi, which I think it is, then that's brilliant, isn't it? You know, we've got him tied in as well. So yeah, what a week. Who'd have thought it? What's that, 67 million on those two players? And Chris is still nervous about leading 3-0 at half time. I mean, what a time to be alive.
I think for me, Hutchinson, I think we'll need a bit of patience with him, and there's certain games that are going to suit him more than others. I think today would have really suited him, actually, if Brentford had been a harder team to unlock. That left-footed winger, McAtee as well, a left-footed player. There's a goal McAtee scored for Sheffield United where he takes a touch and bends it in to the far corner. That's one thing we're quite weak at, because teams, they stop Callum doing it. Morgan, as much as I love him, there was a demonstration again today that his long-range shooting isn't amazing. So to have players who can do that, I think they're going to be big for us in time. I suppose the big thing for me, and, you know, Chris doesn't care about an English core of players, but having two England under 21 internationals who are in the building for a season before, you know, we potentially have to sell either an Anderson or a Gibbs White or a Murillo. We don't know. Obviously, we're spending big, and who knows with Marinakis, but it feels very sensible to have a young core of homegrown players to me, and that's probably the biggest thing, Chris. I'm asking the wrong person, asking the Irishman.
No, listen, it's not. Well, listen, I'm always happy to see players represent their international teams, right? Even if it is England. But what I will say is, look, everyone knows that English players are worth more. They're valued more. That's the reality of it. They go for more money. So we're investing in players that are going to be worth more in the future. On top of that, they happen to be very, very good players with lots of potential. So they happen to be some of England's best group of talent. And to be fair to England, they're a good international side. So I just think if you're building players like McAtee, Hutchinson, Anderson, all young lads who are coming through the midfield, who are going to be sought after, you're investing for the future. Now, I know McAtee has a buyback clause. Hutchinson probably doesn't. I mean, Ipswich are going to buy him back anyway. But my point is, you have these players and you're investing for the future. They're really smart signings, and the homegrown thing is important for Europe too. And hopefully we want to be in Europe again next year. Hopefully we try for that again, and you have to go with that homegrown rule again, and it's important. So it's good investment for the future. It's good for the homegrown rule. They're good players coming in. I was delighted with both those signings. Those were the two that I really, really wanted in this transfer window. It looks like we're going to get them and even more.
Yeah, Kalimuendo looks set to sign. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he was announced tonight, to be honest, by Forest to carry on the feel-good factor. I've not heard anything on that front just yet, but he'll be a really good striking addition. Douglas Luiz looks likely to sign, and Rico Lewis.
Is that a loan? Is that a loan?
No, that's permanent. I mean, this is what I mean. You know,
the money thing is the only thing. I don't understand how PSR works. I heard we'd loads of money to play with prior to the 120 million in player sales, but how much money did we have to play with? What does the sponsorship bring in? How much does the Europa bring in? Do you know what I mean? That's my only fear, is I hope we're not having to have that big sale in January.
Not January, but maybe June. Probably a conversation for another day. I mean, the club, we don't know what's in the accounts, but I don't mind if we're budgeting to sell one of the players. It's not like there'll be a fire sale, because multiple teams will want Murillo or Anderson if it comes to it. So I'm fine with that. Luiz is the only one. It doesn't worry me. It's just he will be on big money and a big £30 million fee. If it doesn't work for a club of our size, it might be tricky to sell without taking a big hit. I don't know. People in the chat will say I'm negative, but I think he's a really good player. But it's probably I don't know. It's not a gamble, because he's had a great career. But if it goes wrong, then that might present us with a few issues. But we shall see. Any thoughts on Luiz Fothers and also Rico Lewis? Lots of the Athletic saying that we're in for him as well. But he did play for City yesterday, which I thought was interesting and makes me think City won't sell him. But what do you think about that?
Well, and he played very well for City yesterday as well. Yeah. I saw the second half. I was, like I said earlier, I was at Trent Bridge, so I only caught the second half and then the highlights last night. But yeah, he looked really good, and he looked really good in the FA Cup semi-final against us as well, didn't he? He's a great player, and I don't know. I don't know whether we'll manage to prize him away from Man City. I don't know how much he's in Pep's thoughts. Douglas Luiz. I think he'd be a statement signing for us. I think he would be an absolute statement signing. I think Whenever he played for Villa against us, I hated him. And you know, I think when you're hating the opposition players, there's a reason for that, and it's because they're doing something that's really good. And I just remember every time he played against us, I just thought he was quality. I think he would be a massive signing. After the way Sangare's played today, how good would it be to have those two to choose from in that role? So yeah, let's hope that we get him. I really do think that we need to get the Aston Villa Douglas Luiz, though, not the Juventus one, because I don't think he's been particularly. I don't know what's happened at Juve with him this year, to be honest. I think he's well, they're trying to get rid, aren't they? So there's obviously something gone wrong there. But I just think Nuno would be the right manager for him to play for, and I think we would probably see the best of him.
Well, Rico Lewis is quoted as saying he wants to stay. Well, he's quoted here. For me, I've never seen myself at a different club. I've always wanted to play for Manchester City. It's a dream club. When I'm playing with these kind of players, it brings out the best in me. He is speaking to the Manchester Evening News there, so he's not exactly going to say he definitely wants to go. I think the Guardian might be reporting he wants to stay. I mean, I couldn't blame him. He's played 50 games for Man City, and he's got England caps at the age of 21 or even 20. But he's a good player. What do you think about him, Chris? Because he doesn't play in a counter-attacking team. Would he fit in, or is he that good and that good a footballer that you could play him right back, left back? He could be a holding midfielder. He's someone who you would just buy because he's such good quality.
He's that good a player. I think he could play. I think he would start right back. I obviously think Aina's. I mean, the trouble is Aina was like one of the best right backs in the league last year. But as we all know, like 60, 65 minutes, he gets tired after a while. We'll need that backup. It's just whether we need that sort of elite player to come in. And Lewis can play both right, left back. He can play in the midfield. He's very, very talented player. That's the only thing is, are we dropping Aina then? Is that what we're doing? If we're bringing Rico Lewis in, is that the plan?
I think they rotate, don't they? I don't think we've got that many games. I think Paul was saying to me in the pub before, we've got between about a month from now and until February, we've got Tuesday, Thursday, practically all the way through to February. So some of these players are going to play every game. Well, the main thing about Rico Lewis is there's question marks against him as an actual defender, but there was against Nico as well, wasn't there?
There was, but is he going to you're going to have Premier League games where you play your main right back? I know you can say you can rotate 1 week, Aina's playing, the next week Lewis is playing, but in reality, one of them is going to be playing more European games and the other one's going to be playing more Premier League games, most likely. And that's, I suppose, my question is our bread and butter week in, week out. If Lewis was in today, who'd be playing next week against Palace? Who'd be playing the following week against West Ham? There'd be a couple of European games sprinkled in and there'd be a League Cup game or two as well. But that would be my question is who's our Premier League starting right back for the most part? Because there will be one. Nuno likes that tight-knit squad. I know he needs the depth and he's been asking for it. But that would be my big question is who's starting? If we're not getting a 15 to 20 million pound backup for Aina and Williams, and we're getting a 30, 35 million pound backup in Rico Lewis, who's got all this talent, surely he's going to be starting more games. And I think Aina's brilliant. So I don't know the answer, but I just think that would be the only thing is you're not going to rotate them week on, week off in the league.
Yeah, but if we have 55, 60 games, and they probably, whoever plays is going to make 50 appearances. It's just how many starts they make. Sorry, Fothers.
I was just going to say, how good was Aina today? I thought he was back on it. He did one lung bursting run in the second half, and then chased back, and I thought he was fantastic today. If the midfield three hadn't been as good as they were, then he would be in there for man of the match for me. I thought he was outstanding. But what we need is this strength in depth. Players are going to get injured. We've got, like you've just said there, we've got at least 8 European games. Hopefully, we're going to get a run in one of the cups as well. You're talking 50 games, aren't you? Hopefully. So we need these players.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say is someone in the comments, sorry to cut you off, Matt. Someone in the comments just mentioned.
Told you a melt.
Did they? Jesus Christ. No. Someone in the comments just mentioned AFCON, which is a really good point.
Yeah.
So AFCON comes up, they're missing a couple of months there. So that makes sense. I definitely think we need a fullback. I actually think we need two fullbacks. It was more, are we going to get someone who's definitely going to be our new first choice right back? Because I love Aina, and I'd still like to see him start. But yeah, you're right. Father's right. There's loads of games. And look, someone mentioned that in the comments, people get injured. Yeah, I know that. We need backups. We definitely need fullbacks. It's just whether you get someone who is going to be expecting to start most games. But like someone said, AFCON's a big one. You know what I mean? But yeah, thanks for calling me a melt, JS. Is it JS? I don't even know who it was. But yeah.
It was, yeah. I think you have three.
He said sorry, though. He said sorry here. Look. No worries, JS.
I think you have three starting level fullbacks and then a fourth who's, I don't know, a veteran free agent or a younger player on loan.
Just Mecast or something like that, for left back.
Well, he's not going to come and play. He's not going to come and be definite second fiddle. It's what goes back to what Lewis has been saying, isn't it? That this fullback signing is actually really quite hard, I think, to get someone in who's going to be of sufficient quality for the fourth one. Not necessarily the third one, but the fourth one, I think is pretty tricky. Right.
Again, there, Matt, sorry to drop in, Matt, but Zach Abbott, somebody's just popped in there as well as your fourth option. There's obviously a lot of love for Zach Abbott at the club. We want to carry on bringing these players through and showing the youngsters at the academy that there is still a route to the first team. And Ryan Yates has done it. Zach Abbott is doing it. So maybe he's your fourth option.
I think it's Jair Cunha ahead of Abbott in that position. Actually, I think Jair looks like he might be able to do it. I think Abbott's going to be a big player for us in time. But I don't know who the third centre back is either. Probably a conversation for a different day, whether it's Jair or Morato or. Actually, it's probably one of those two. Willy Bolly was on the bench as well today, but I'm not sure it's him. We haven't done man of the match. People in the chat, if you want to put your man of the match down, we really have to do one after a win like that. Fothers, man of the match.
I've got to go with Morgan Gibbs-White, haven't I? I think people would start to question my love for him if I went elsewhere. Elliot Anderson pushed him all the way for me. I thought Sangare was outstanding, but I just thought I mentioned it earlier, and I just think that there were times today where Brentford just didn't know, they couldn't handle him. He was unplayable at times today, and for his assist, for his overhead kick, for his long range shooting, maybe not so much, but for his all round work rate, for captaining the side, for staying with us despite whatever happened in the summer. Morgan Gibbs-White gets the nod for me.
Lots of names in the chat, all midfielders apart from a couple of guys saying Chris Wood. What about you, Chris?
When I first initially switched off, I thought Sangare for me. I was like, when the game ended, I thought Sangare because that role is thankless at times. You're sitting back quite a lot. You're sitting deep. You're making the big challenges. If someone gets past you, it's very noticeable as well. Not a lot of people did today. I thought Sangare was amazing. But I just about give it to Anderson because there was so many moments of defensive contributions when he got back, when Brentford could have slipped someone in. Anderson seemed to be there a lot. So I'd give it to Elliot Anderson. By the way, Murillo and Milenkovic were both brilliant today as well. Like Murillo's sliding challenge near the end of the game and then skinned a lad and then won a free kick. Milenkovic a couple of times had some wonderful interceptions. Both of them were class. But Anderson for me today, for sure. And the assist was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's one of those games that everyone contributed. Like Sells had that big save at 1-0. Dan Ndoye had his goal, even though it wasn't necessarily the performance that level that we'll see consistently all season. I would say there were the three players we've discussed. Morgan was fantastic, and that Fulham performance, the first half of the season before last, he was at that level. But I would say Anderson for me because he's just like plays on a different level. He plays so well that he lets Morgan take those risks and do those things that Morgan can do. Because Anderson doesn't lose the ball. There was a moment where he got it with like three players around him, and he showed good feet and won a free kick. The pass for the goal. I think Anderson, if he's not in the England World Cup squad, then we're winning the World Cup comfortably because he's that good. So I would say Elliot Anderson just ahead of those guys. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to add, Chris, before we go?
No, I just saw someone in the comments mention this. I was going to say the same. 91 Premier League goals for Chris Wood now. So he would have been in the 50s, early 50s of how many goals he had, or the 50s when he first came to us, and he's now on 91. Or 50s or 60s, however many that would be. But he's now 91 Premier League goals. He's 9 away from 100. That's why I put him on my fantasy football team, Matt, because I knew he's gunning for that. You bottled it. I bottled the captaincy and gave it to Salah, but he's gunning for that 100, and it looks like he's going to get it. And if he did, that is a massive achievement for a player like him, and it's a massive achievement for Forest. So I hope he gets there. Big shout out to Matt, my friend, who's co-host my old podcast, or our podcast that we used to do. He was at the game today and he really enjoyed it. I just wanted to give him a bit of a shout out because he was at the game and he got to see a win. So yeah, huge shout out to him, and thanks very much for having me. It's great to start off with a win. As Father said, since 2017, I'm just really, really happy with that. The league is the bread and butter. It's great to not have this playoff on Thursday, but Palace do. They'll have the playoff and then they'll come and play us. So it's lovely to start the Premier League season. And we're 3 points ahead of Man United already because they lost today. So there you go.
I took Wood out because as soon as I saw we were signing Kalimuendo, I bottled it and put João Pedro in, and I shouldn't have done it because Chris Wood's going to start. Inevitable. He's going to start these first 6 games. I should have just stuck with him. So yeah, that was silly. And I knew we weren't going to keep a clean sheet because I had Sells and Murillo, and I thought, we're going to concede because I've got double Forest defence. So I wasn't even surprised when that penalty went in. Just a small part of me thought, oh, if Sells saves it, that's even better, but wasn't to be. Fothers, any final thoughts from you?
Just what a fantastic day. Started for me in the Nav, as you know, at about 12 o'clock. Thanks to everyone who came along in there earlier and made it as special as it was. I think we did the loudest Mulligan tyre outside the City ground about an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff. That was great. It's great to see so many Forest fans out there. Sun was shining. 3-1 win on the opening day of the season. As Chris says, 3 points ahead of Man United already. I think we're probably already in the Champions League places. I've not had a look at the league table yet, but I think we probably are top 4, aren't we? I think just below Sunderland. I think.
I was going to say Sunderland are winning the league by your logic, but yeah.
Well, Man City are top and Sunderland second. I think.
Okay.
We've snuck in. We've snuck in just below Liverpool in 4th, I think, unless I've missed somebody out. 5th. Somebody just said we're 5th. There you go. I forgot somebody else. But no, just Matt, thanks for having me back on. I haven't been on for a lot over the summer. Been busy with cricket. Although Temp still manages to do it somehow. I don't know how he.
That's a HR question, I think.
He's the boss. No, he's the boss. That's why. But no, thanks for having me on. Thanks to everybody who's joined us. Hit like and keep supporting Matt's Forest Focus, and thanks for everybody for watching.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. A couple of bits from me. Thank you to Dan for being a member for 17 months. Dan Bassford, you must be one of the original members, Dan. Really appreciate that. I was crossing Trent Bridge today, and a young girl whose dad does the Mistrolling In podcast on the brain, fanzine, came up to me and gave me a copy. So I think they're £3. Are you in it, Fothers?
Yeah, there's a great article from me in there.
There's lots of great articles in there, and there's something from Fothers as well, if that's what you're interested in. So shout out to them. Also got to stop crossing Trent Bridge by one of your countrymen, Chris, David and his wife, who fly over from Ireland. I don't know if it's for every game, but they've flown over for this one. So I thought I'd say hello to them. And I'll finish with a word for Simon in the Nav, who came up to me. And I had to drop out your quiz, Fothers. I wasn't doing very well because I couldn't hear the questions because Simon was talking to me with some lovely words about how much the podcast means to him, really touching, about how when his wife had stage 4 cancer, the podcast was one of the only things that kept him going, which sounded mad, but it really, I don't know what the word is. Good to hear in a way that, hopefully we're helping people. Not on days like today because it's great, but if there's a bad day for you when you're listening, or when Forest lose or whatever, because it does affect you mentally, then hopefully we're doing something good. And thanks to Simon. It does affect you mentally. Like today, just before kickoff, I thought, God, it's so great to be back here. When Forza, we haven't said about Forza's display, that was fantastic as well. To be in that environment after, Chelsea was a bit shit, wasn't it? I shouldn't swear. Sorry. The last day, but to be back there and be part of it was fantastic. I know you're in Ireland, Chris, and you get over when you can. But yeah, to go to the City ground for days like today just fantastic. Do us a favour, like I say, we've had 1,000 people with us. Hit like, do hit subscribe. It makes a big difference. Do consider membership or Patreon, or a lovely 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. Chris Aylmer, thank you very much.
Thanks a million for having me. Fathers, you do a great job, by the way, at the Nav. I've been there a few times before games, and my cousin and I always do the quiz. So just want to say fair play to you. Back in there, straight in there today. And I look forward to going over and seeing you. And Matt, thanks a million for having me. And everyone, it's a great day. Like Forest opening the season like that is brilliant. We still have European football to come. We still have signings to come in. And it just feels like a really great time to be a Forest fan.
StreamYard, the stream platform, has raised Dan's membership for 17 months to Andy's for 19 months. And I see Derek in the chat saying he's been a member for 19 months. So they are the originals, surely. Fathers, thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for those lovely words, Chris, as well. I do my bit. I try and just keep everybody entertained as much as I can. And hopefully it's taken in a nice way and everybody loves coming to the Nav. And thanks for having me on, Matt. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, let's stop blowing smoke up each other's asses and end it there. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. with Kelvin, Greg, and Mark. Tuesday with Dan Story and James Belshaw, because Belly was at the game, so we'll be interested to get a pro's perspective from a goalkeeping point of view. Poor Kelleher, Chris, doesn't give up much hope for the Irish national team.
He's a great keeper. It was just a disaster from today. And I'm happy it was a disaster today. But I mean, the communications, even he was getting pressed by Chris Wood and just booting it straight out of play a lot of the time as well. It just felt like him and Collins were all over the place today. So yeah, I feel for him, but I don't feel that bad.
Still got that dodgy Icelandic manager or not?
He's all right. Like, who else are we going to get? Right? He's like, seriously, we had Stephen Kenny, a League of Ireland manager before him. He was like, and Andrews was his assistant. We're doing the best we can. All right. Yeah, he's good. He's done well. He's done okay. He's organised them. John O'Shea's behind the scenes doing a good job. And John O'Shea's a Premier League winner.
I just like poking Chris about the Irish.
I know, yeah. I like when Grealish and Declan Rice scored a goal against Ireland in that bloody game. What an absolute shambles.
He rises to it every time. Yeah. Right. Thanks very much, everyone. Busy week ahead, like I say, so do join us for that. But if we don't see you tomorrow, we shall see you soon.